course, not forgetting about the speakers. The topic for the session is digital customer experience, the new normal. Before the speakers move up on the stage, I would just like to brief a little bit about them. We'd like to welcome both the speakers, Ms. Deepa Jeswani, Director, Capgemini Consulting, and Mr. Subrahmanyam. He is a Senior Manager of Capgemini Consulting. Ms. Deepa Jeswani have holds a diploma in e-business and BE in electronics, and Ms. Deepa has over 14 years of experience, and she has been predominantly working in the digital consulting space in the last couple of years, and specialization is engagements in customer experience space. She specializes in consumer products and retail sectors, having worked on other sectors as life science and telecom, media and entertainment as well. As for Mr. Subrahmanyam, he holds a MBA and BE in electronics. He has over 12 years of consulting and research experience across sectors. He currently is in the India lead for Digital Transformation Institute, Capgemini think tank on all things digital. Prior to Capgemini, he worked with Flextronics Technologies, where he has responsible for program managing the production of mobile handsets for Tier 1 handset provider. We are so pleased to have you along with us. So I request both the speakers to move on the stage and take over. Thank you. Thank you, and welcome everybody. Thanks for coming here for the session, Capgemini session on digital customer experience. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, cool. Welcome everybody on Capgemini session on digital customers experience. We're going to talk today about how do you enable and improve customer experience using digital, right? So while we talk about that and I start, I have a very quick question. Can you think of one example, anyone? One example where you know a company has just come into play, used digital and caused a big disruption in the market. We know of many. One example from the audience. Yes, please. Very good. Paytm. Any other example? Ola. WhatsApp. Facebook. Great. So we have a lot of examples. So we understand what we are talking about, the digital disruptors. Couldn't be more relevant, the slide. What we are talking about is digital disruption at first. Why is it becoming so important? In the last couple of years, we've seen many, you can see a lot of examples on the slide. We've seen many companies that have emerged from nowhere and actually challenged the traditional business models. Anyone knows of Airbnb? Yes, can somebody talk to me what Airbnb did? Somebody. We all know Airbnb. What does Airbnb do? Homestay? What is so different? Like there are hotels, right? So what does Airbnb do?
So basically you can go to somebody's house, so they put up the house on the portal and you can look for different houses where you want to stay, and it's like a choice that a hotel could not provide.
Okay, so what the personalization? It provides a platform for the customers. Crowdsourcing. Cost effective as well. Good. Let's look at the other example. Uber. You can of course say Ola as well. What has Ola Uber done? Okay, this is not a session where I'm going to talk about this company did this and that company did this. Yes, we will do that. But we want to make it more interactive. So come on, what has Uber or Ola done? What have they done differently? There are many companies available in the transport market. What have they done differently?
They bring the transport service, traditional transport service through digital channel.
Through digital channel. Okay, good.
They provided a better customer experience than other players.
We'll come to that. Hang on to the thought. They bought a better customer experience. Hold on to that thought. Good one. Zenefits. Has anybody heard of Zenefits? Okay.
Right. So Zenefits is a SaaS provider. It's a software as a service provider. They entered the insurance market, but they entered it in a different way. What they basically said was, well, we'll go to small, medium companies and we'll tell you, you have payroll to be done, you have salary processing to be done, you have leave management to be done. You need software for all of that. We'll give you software. You use the software, it's free of cost. But if you use our insurance services as well, you'll get it at a very good discount, and two, it will be very integrated directly with your payroll system already. By doing so, they basically disintermediated the insurance agent across the US markets. So they're already a multi-billion valued company.
Yeah. Tesla. Anybody knows about the Tesla example? Could you
Yeah.
please be louder?
Yeah, electric cars. We're talking of different example here. Sorry. Yep, indeed. Cars is one. Hyperloop, absolutely. So we absolutely, that's Elon Musk again there. So we're talking about the utilities portion of Tesla. So Tesla also has a energy storage product. It's essentially battery packs. So what they're trying to do essentially is, you're saying how you buy a television, how you buy a microphone, a laptop or a phone, you should buy your energy services like that. They're saying you come to us, buy a big energy storage pack, put it on your wall. I mean, it's a piece of art. If you actually look up the images, it's really a piece of art. And they say we want to transform how you deal with a utility. So utilities, I know all of us probably hate our electricity suppliers. They have the lowest customer satisfaction scores, lowest NPS scores. So what we're essentially saying, Tesla essentially is saying here is, we will make purchasing electricity a thing which you will love. You can get off grid and you get your own power.
Okay. One example that was not mentioned, Paytm. Somebody mentioned Paytm this side. What did they do differently?
They provide that digital.
Saved us from going to the banks.
And
Saving
they
time,
provide
yes.
the digital wallet and remove the problem of change. Is like with the local vendors we can interact using Paytm.
Excellent. Did this presentation get leaked out or something? Did you just see it? Like, okay, cool. Yes. So we saw a lot of examples where a lot of digital disruptions have happened. Now the question is, what is the one thing common amongst all of this? Of course, digital technology. That's an enabler. Experience, customer experience, which is why I thought the presentation got leaked when you said that right in the beginning. But yes, the one thing that's common is they all focus on customer experience, right? And this mic is a little, am I audible clearly? Is it okay? Okay. They all focus on customer experience. If you look at the Airbnb example, they are really looking at how things can be made more convenient. If you look at Ola, Uber, everything is Paytm. It's about the convenience for the customer, thinking from the customer's mindset or the consumer's mindset, right? So what we're going to do today is talk about, when we talk about, if somebody said it's technology, it's digital. So how do you use digital technologies to enable customer experience? So we're going to talk about what really is digital customer experience. How do you influence the customer journey? For that, of course, you need to understand what a customer journey is. How is this entire thing enabled? What is the biggest concern for adoption? Do we still see concerns for adoption, and if yes, why? And eventually, what is the thoughts or key takeaways for all of us, right? So what is digital customer experience? Lots of word clouds here. Please.
See, when we talk about software as such, has been there for last 30, 40 years,
Yeah.
right? But when we talk about digital, that word is just a change of the same stuff in a different way, right? Is there any other, I think I'm audible. Is there any other explanation to that?
So I think it's a very good question, and this is my point of view, right? I think it is very different from what has existed. Yes, in some sense it's repackaged, but it's got to do a lot with your front end. It's got a lot to do with your touch points with the customers, right? There was a traditional ERP in place, or an Oracle or SAP or everything else in place, always in organizations, that continues to exist. So what we are talking about here today is really the digital touch points. So are you able to use so are you understanding, are you using your softwares for your own internal process improvements, or are you re-looking at technology in the way the consumer would look at it? So we know the concept of millennials and how people are, and we'll have some of those questions and interpolls as well. So when you look at these pointers, you will see how consumers are getting more digital, and therefore you're using various technologies that kind of either bring convenience to them or is able to help us engage with them better. So some of these technologies are new, like you could talk about artificial intelligence has taken in a different step. You talk about AR, VR, many of them. Some of them are really, where do you adopt what? But what I will talk in my presentation is it's not just about technologies, which is what I want to take, is a key takeaway for me in this session, is it's not just about technology, it's about which technology, but also the fact that even if you have the best technology, if none of your customers or consumers are using that technology or engaging with you on those touch points, then it's a total waste of money. right? So the idea is, how do you understand how your consumer is thinking, right? So how is your client's customer thinking, and then what are the touch points, what are their moments of truth, and how do you understand them, and then use technology to enable them. So the idea is about that. It's about more. So while we say digital is an enabler, it's really the focus is on customer experience, the experience bit, right? Does it answer your question?
Sorry, Deepa, if I might just add, on the point of digital and technology, so we did a lot of research with the MIT. We have an ongoing relationship with them. So the way we look at it on traditional technology is, we always look at traditional technology as incremental change. So you've been using technology to get incremental output. And what we're saying with digital technology is, any technology which will give you a transformative impact, which will give you a significant exponential change in terms of the benefits that you can see. Those are what we define as digital technologies. So you look at AI, you look at 3D printing, you look at mobility, mobile, for example. All of these technologies will give you output efficiencies significantly ahead of your older technologies. So that's one way that we differentiate traditional tech versus digital.
I guess,
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, to this point on the software part, I guess what has truly changed is software plus UX plus convenience. You continue to build software, it will go downhill and get bust. You take care of UX plus convenience,
Yeah.
that is traditional, that is software 2.0, I guess.
So I give my own interpretation to my clients. So I wanted different interpretations so that I
Sure,
can
very
improve
fair.
my interpretation.
Sure.
Do you want to
Thank
share
you.
your interpretation?
Yeah.
We would love to hear. Please do.
Yeah,
So
please.
mainly to improve. See, first of all, I call it as an evolution, right? Because previously the customer was not enabled enough to come up and use the technology for themselves, right? The technology was limited to the enablers for customers. So
Yeah.
when you go to a bank, the technology was limited to the teller who would actually use the technology to help the customer, right? Now it's more about self-help,
Yeah.
right? And organizations are in a way are in such a competing world that they don't want to spend enough money on setting up branches, setting up infrastructure and all that. So they want consumers to start using the things by themselves.
Excellent. Any more perspectives?
So going forward, it would be like technology with a domain experience. I mean, we just see, as you rightly said, it's going to be evolution with, so we no longer would be calling industry segments. It would be, say, if you pick a banking industry, then it would be someone with a technology with banking experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I don't think, with all the examples we shared, none of these companies have the infrastructure of their own. So if you see Uber, they don't have any cars of their own. Airbnb does not have any hotels of their own. So
Good.
Earlier,
That's a good example.
earlier organizations dictated how consumers need to work with them. Now the consumers are choosing how to work with the organization.
That is something
Somebody
still
has
I
Yeah.
don't agree.
somebody has shared the presentation.
Yes,
For
absolutely.
sure.
No,
Okay.
that is something I still don't agree. It's an organization which is actually changing the way customer behaves.
Yeah.
It's never the customer who's actually defining, right? Customer never said that I want an app where I can book my cab, right? An organization said I can provide you an app where you can book a cab and cab can come to your place.
So marrying
So
the two
it's about
thoughts together, I think both of you are right in your own ways. Yes, organizations are taking that step change, but they are doing that after understanding that there's a need from the consumer, right? So they've identified that need of convenience, and then that's when they are doing this. So yes, consumers are not coming and asking for it in so many words, but we know there's a demand. So that's where the companies are coming and trying to do this as well, right? Yeah. Any more perspectives? Any more ideas?
I
Uh,
guess
there's a famous Steve Jobs quote. You probably all of you know that. You should not really go out and ask the consumer what they want.
Yeah.
You should actually, define what is it that will work for them, and you take it to them. That philosophy is probably, spreading across sectors now.
for incumbent firms, I guess the challenge is totally different. I think the demand is not coming from the incumbent firms to consumers. What is happening is that, for example, for a bank to bank, the demand is coming from a consumer who's looking at an Uber, who's looking at an Ola, who's looking at Airbnb and seeing a fantastic UX with a convenience. And what he's saying is that if my cab provider can do the same, why can't my cash provider do it? So he is coming and probably not proactively asking it, but in a sense he has it in his mind. So for example, you find that the DBSs of the world who are taking UX to a different level altogether and getting consumers, the INGs of the world. But whereas the Bank of America of the world are probably a little struggling to do that.
Actually, they need same kind of personalized experience for all the services they're looking for.
Yeah.
All the service models are getting into the more personalized experience where the CX comes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Personalization.
To add to this, I think one of the key reasons for the digital boom is the customer inclusiveness. Because now the customer wants to be a part of the chain, they want to be a part of the process, they want to be included, and I think that is where the whole experience leads to.
Okay.
We'll come back to that point slightly later, because I think there's a very important point around how you can now mass customize. Earlier you had very broad buckets of consumer segments. Now it's not really that. You can really get down to a very individualized level of service. Yes.
So
Just
good
one
point
more
though.
point. I think it's also the availability of endpoint platforms which has made the difference, because everything else is just following the trend. You take out mobiles and tablets,
Yeah.
after digital is out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also part of, yeah.
going digital for organization is very helpful because they can touch a consumer in a lot more touch points rather than the conventional way of doing business.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's a lot of perspectives. Any more perspectives? Any more ideas?
What about brand intimacy for the organization? It is not no more about improving the sales or just bring that wow experience for their customers. They
Yeah.
want their customers to remain intimate
To the brand.
to the brand. So
And
for
they don't.
that,
This is the way. Yeah.
customer experience matters a lot.
Great. Well.
There's one other thing that I've noted lately. So there are also some of these applications. For example, you go to a app like Snapdeal. They also give you an option to book a cab, book an Uber, or something like that. So those kind of options are also like, it's kind of going multi-channel.
Cross service integration.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
one point. I think we are also looking at newer trends like digital detox, which is
I didn't hear you. Sorry. We are also looking at new trends.
Digital detox. Yeah.
We are overloading the customer with too much of technology.
Yeah.
Again, hold on to that thought. The absolute close of a deck again. Are you sure it has not leaked some parts of it at least?
looks
We
like
will
it.
definitely come back to that. That's a very important point.
So I'm not going to define what digital customer experience looks like, or what is it, or what does it enable, because we've all collectively as a group defined what it means. Really, we understand what it is. But let's look at why it is important, right? Like somebody mentioned that, you mentioned, customers, our customers or clients are actually doing that for the consumers. But do they really see the need? And this is an example of how in retail we've seen, there's a study conducted, 40% of consumers consider shopping in stores as a chore. They don't want to go to the store, right? 32% would rather clean dishes than go to a store. How many of you all agree with this? How many of you all rather clean dishes than go to a store? Hands up, I can't see. Up. Do neither. I like that. I'm with you. Totally with you. Do neither. So okay, maybe it's a wrong comparison with the cleaning of dishes, but yes, people don't want to go to the stores as much, right? Customer expectations with retail stores on the rise. I'm going to read because of its percentages. 73% of consumers want same-day delivery options. I mean, I'm this customer thing is like a biggest cliche, but yes, I want everything when I want it, right? 57% of consumers want retail stores to evolve to social spaces or provide learning or inspiration. Consumers expect a similar user experience from physical stores as they find online. So they are increasingly wanting digital and physical stores as well. They want the same type of experience as an online. Nobody wants to wait for a checkout, right? They want quick comparisons. They don't want to go from look for a shirt here and a shirt there from that brand. So what are really customers looking for? Let's take two examples. I would like to run two videos here to see what customers are really looking for.
Father of two, technology has always played a big part in his life, which is why he couldn't be happier with Big Telco, his telco provider. It's time to unwind after a long day at the office, so James turns on the TV to watch the tennis championship. Big Telco knows that James is tuned into the game and sends him a promotion on the sunglasses that his favorite tennis star is wearing. The timing couldn't be more perfect as the offer pops up on James's tablet and he orders it in one click. A pair of tennis shoes catches his eyes at the same time, and is added to his wish list. James gets an alert reminding him that his wife's birthday is coming up and starts to think of restaurants he can bring her to. He recalls seeing some eye-catching restaurant ads on TV just minutes ago, but can't remember the names. Luckily, those same ads are sent to his tablet. He picks the new Italian restaurant the whole town is talking about and makes a dinner reservation there. After confirming the reservation, the app also provides suggestions for florists who can deliver flowers directly to the restaurant. The next day, while James is out for a lunch appointment, he walks past a sports store and immediately receives an alert from his app. There is a promotion on the shoes in his wish list. The timing couldn't be more perfect, and he heads into the store to check it out. Sarah, a sales staff, is notified of his arrival. Viewing James's profile, she takes note of his wish list. James is pleasantly surprised that Sarah greets him with the new pair of tennis shoes ready to be tried on. Shopping is a breeze for James, thanks to the Big Telco app. It's Diana's birthday, and the restaurant is even better than expected. However, during dinner, James gets an alert on his phone that his home alarm system has been deactivated. He calls home to make sure everything is okay and checks the security camera from his phone. Thanks to his security system from Big Telco, James has greater peace of mind no matter where he is. As the couple is finishing up dessert, James receives a notification from the Big Telco app recommending a movie for him and his wife, based on the types of films they watch at home. It turns out that Diana has been wanting to see the exact film. The tickets are purchased, restaurant bill is settled, and the couple makes their way to the cinema. Making his day.
Right. The next one. We have some
Yeah, this
issues
is
there.
the other one that I was talking about when we spoke about customers are wanting the same kind of experience in the physical stores as they're seeing in the digital world, right? So let's look at another example. Yeah.
Sorry.
Imagine if you could personally engage your shopper before they step in your store. And continue that conversation at the store. And what if you could allow your shoppers to choose their personalised shopping journey in the store? A digitally compelling self-service option. And get assistance from a sales associate who understands your customers and provides tailored recommendations to help your customer find the right product at the right time. Deliveries are sent to the place of customer choice, at the store, or delivered to their home. Creating an amazing and differentiated experience that keeps customers coming back for more. This is all possible in today's world, thanks to digital innovations in retail. Capgemini is partnering with Intel.
Yeah. What we'll do now, I know we had a good interaction round on different examples. We want to do a quick poll, interactive poll on Kahoot. So you want to give the instructions on that?
Sure. So yeah, take out all your mobile phones and on the browser you have to log on to kahoot.it.
Kahoot.it.
It's right there. Yeah, it's on the top.
KAHOOT.it.
And then on the first screen you will be asked the game pin, and the game pin is right there.
So whoever is logging in now, all their names are up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are aware, but we still wanted to keep it this way. If it doesn't work for most, then we'll go the traditional route, but we try like to. Yeah.
Let me know when you're all done so we can start the poll then.
We got celebrities here, huh?
Who's Tippy 2.0?
Yeah. We got an ex-chief minister.
Alright, 5 more seconds and we start. Is everybody on?
We'll give you more time.
Bahubali.
Excellent.
That's a fun crowd.
Is someone taking on Bahubali here? Wow. There you go. Oh. Right, I think we can.
Good, all done?
Any more? Shall we start? Finding Nemo, wow.
Still have like
2 more seconds then. Okay. Alright.
Yeah, let's
You
start.
can always join in.
Yeah, you can always join in. Sure. So we won't have all the questions together, but yeah, let's see. What do people spend most time on?
So there are 4 options. You get
Pick.
the colors on your screen and
Yeah, pick the color which you believe is the answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have 30 seconds for every question and then it will lapse and go to the next one. Copying not allowed. There is no first ranker, so don't bother.
So we have 34 people who've given the right answer. You can see the right answer on the top there with the check mark. Let's go to the next one.
Which is the most popular channel for customers to hear about a new product for the first time?
anybody still joining? The game pin is right there. 761405.
At the bottom left corner.
Lots of people in this room will get the fastest finger first. Huh?
I know. Seriously.
Good.
Wow.
There are a lot of people answering correctly.
Lovely.
Next to the next one.
How many times on an average does a user check their phone in a day?
There's no it depends option.
All I can say is you'll know whether you're average or not. Yes, everything
yes.
is. Yeah, it's not what you feel or I feel. Like I said, that will only define your average or not.
We have 32 people on the average.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Alright. Going to the
Yep.
next.
Take a shot.
What
at
is the
this.
longest duration of a customer service phone call?
And this is across any organization, any sector.
Hey, you want to start the video bit till then? Oh, 1 hour 15 minutes, 10 hour 51 minutes is the right answer. We'll come to the answers anyways, but yeah, moving forward. Okay. You want to talk? We will come to we'll come back. Continue? Yeah. So I think people got this one right.
I think we can move on.
Most time on social media. Do you know how much difference is there between social media, television? Traditionally, it used to be television, but so television is around 1 hour some minutes, and social media is around 3 hours some minutes. So that's the difference.
And one is trending down, the other is trending up.
Yeah, and there is of course mobile phone, which is the highest. If you look at PC or tablet put together, it can be higher, but if you say only PC or tablet, it's lower. Yeah. Next. What is the most popular channel for customers to hear about a new product for the first time? So this is survey. Again, not what I feel, you feel, but social media is the largest here. How many times does an average smartphone user, this was a study, but yes, we guessed it right, 85 to 150 is the average. What is the longest duration? 10 hours, 51 minutes. Does anyone know which company? Somebody must know.
Actually, you're talking about the waiting time and not the actual call time.
Okay, let me try and give you some more clues. So, yep, exactly.
You want to give the
yeah, I'll give you some background on what it is. So it's from a company called Zappos. So Zappos is a shoe brand, shoe provider, acquired by Amazon a few years ago. It's one of the leading companies in very personalized service. So Zappos philosophy essentially is will make the customer happy at whatever cost. Period. So we spoke to them a few years ago actually, and they told us a very interesting thing. They said, our competition is not other online retailers. They sell shoes online, by the way. So they basically said, we don't really believe our competition is online retailers. We compete with a brick and mortar store. And we asked them, okay, why? Well, the reason is fairly straightforward. We compete with them because they have the opportunity to meet and greet the customer in the eye, and we don't have that opportunity. So we try and make up for that using our customer service center. So whenever anyone calls a customer service center, the agents are not measured by how fast they can resolve it. They are measured by how happy does the customer go back. So this particular call that happened, you can go up to zappos.com and read up more on it. It's essentially the customer just wanted someone to talk to. So they hold the previous record as well. It was I think 10 hours 43 minutes as well. That was a few years ago, and last year they broke it. They are just open to talking. So and in the process, yes, they do sell a fair amount. They have consistently exceedingly high NPS scores across companies in other sectors. So I do strongly suggest you look up on Zappos.
Yeah.
Basically, what you're saying is this guy wanted to die and then eventually ended up lying.
Kind of, sort of.
More to read on Zappos.
Sorry?
Is it time well spent for the company?
It is time well spent for the company because again, it aligns with their philosophy. What they believe is a consumer is not a one-time transaction. So I mean, if I take one more stat from the company, 3/4 of their business comes from repeat customers.
Can this be implemented? It should be implemented in India.
Now that's a good question.
So okay, we will be sharing a lot of leading examples of what different companies are doing. It does not mean everything has to be implemented in India. It does not mean everything is replicable across sectors. It is just inspiration. What we do for different clients, or what a company would do, is very, very has to go with their philosophy, has to go with their traditional brick and mortar business as well, has to go with what is their long-term vision as well. So digital is not just because I thought somebody else did it and I need to replicate it. That's the wrong way of doing digital. Digital is first you understand your business strategy, see where it is. If your company philosophy says, well, that's my way to I'm not brick and mortar and want to kind of compensate for that, or that's my way to do it, that's a company philosophy. And then you see how you can enable it. So these were just examples to share how companies are doing differently, either in terms of digital or in terms of customer experience. So they think differently, they do differently. So not to say it, I'm not saying replicate it in Airtel, for example, right? Yeah.
On a very lighter note, Deepa, the underlying thing for me, which I could see from the first video, from the examples what we are talking about, right? Digital is extremely distracting. I was looking at my tennis match. I finally didn't know what was the result, right? Because I was busy
philosophy for another time. I don't know about your wives, but if my husband would not be reminded my anniversary and would not end up with something, then there would be a problem. So I'm happy that this thing exists. So it's perspectives, right? So
How many of us really want DMart salesman to keep messaging us? Are you finished? So,
like I said, it is not replicable in every model, right? We are not saying we do it in all the DMarts of the world or anything. It is different examples. It is different brands. Maybe if you were not doing DMart and you were doing a Burberry, you would want that. So it depends on how premium the brand is. What are you buying? What is the product? Who's the consumer set? And
yeah, if it's a car, I can understand. Okay, if it's a car, it's a personalized thing. You know, someone is trying, and I want to more interact with it.
so that's a very good point. You as a consumer persona, and we'll come to that in a bit, are okay to get those messages from a car brand, but not okay to get it from a DMart, right?
The example is from showing a cloth store, and that I don't want that.
So you don't want it. That's you, right? There are around 150 odd people in this room. I'm sure different people will want yes and no for different things. Which is where analytics comes in play.
Yeah,
Sorry?
exactly.
1% of
Absolutely.
one segment.
Absolutely. Very brilliant point, right? So that's where your analytics comes in play, that's where your consumer data comes in play, and we'll come in a bit for that. Which is why one of the parts of this presentation also covers a bit on understanding consumer persona. You are talking about, like you rightly said, you are talking about yourself. Even if you pick one product, there will be multiple persona buying that product. And each one needs to be personalized, customized, addressed differently. And I'm not saying we end up doing something like every individual. We haven't reached there, but we do mass personalization and we come there. Yeah?
Just on the lighter note, all these apps
Everything
come
has
with
been,
an
in my
option to
view,
disable or enable notifications. It's up to us whether we want those notifications or we don't want. That is personalization.
And by the way, a lot of credit card companies wanted to do that chatting before coming to the store, but it doesn't really work.
shall we? Okay, so the question is, how do you influence the customer journey? There is a classic three-way process that I follow, my perspective. I'm sure we'll have more ideas coming on the floor as well. First is define what a digital customer experience looks like, and then look at influencing moments of truth, then look at understanding the customer persona and journey. Before I move forward and go step by step, the first one, digital experience, customer experience, is what we've spoken about. Can anybody tell me what is moments of truth? Have you heard of that concept?
The possibility of buying something after we get the salary.
That's
Could be
the
your
softer
moment
moment
of
of truth, yes.
Could be your moment of truth, yes.
I think the moment of truth is when you understand what the customer feels about. I mean, it's sort of a insight which you get after doing something which you may not have.
Okay.
Practical scenarios instead of the theoretical ones.
Yes, could you elaborate that further? He was on the right track as well.
Okay, so for example, we assume that a certain consumer will be behaving in this way while we are doing a customer journey. However, when this person actually comes in, there are some traits we do not know about this person. There are some parts of the journey which will still be missing on, and then the emotions will be at play. There will be a lot of other things, the empathy part of it, and eventually you may not really have exactly the same outcome that you were looking at, but maybe somewhere close. But
Bang on.
that's where
Emotions. Emotions, big one, right? Like different people, when they go for buying a product, the same product, different people will buy at different points of the entire life cycle of their experience with the brand. Some may just feel wow when they look at it on a social media site. Some may want to check out the product. Some may just feel, oh, this is exactly what I was trying to buy for my son. You know, and it's about that. That is what is moment of truth is. Now, moment of truth can be defined in two ways. One is in your life cycle of that product experience, but also people are increasingly looking at different moments of truth and different customer experiences. So, for example, companies are investing in, if I know that this product is a product that can be bought by women of this particular age, or it's a makeup brand, do I target people who are getting married, and therefore what is the age group that they are getting married? So what they do is they actually study what are the emotions women go through right from their marriage being set up to post marriage, and that is being tapped. So moments of truth can be defined in both ways. One is to understand what is the different type of areas or different type of consumer journeys that are not consumer journey. Okay, let me say people journeys, because these are not consumer journeys. These are not how they will buy the product, but what are they going through, and tapping those decision points, right? And helping them take decisions towards your brand, and then it becomes a consumer journey, of course. But the second one is rightfully so your emotions. You will decide on different things on different ways, and not just emotions. There are many parameters. There are benefits. There are pricing, and all of that has already been taken care of. The idea is to get when is it that you're going to decide, and what is going to help you decide that. So that is your moment of truth. Sorry.
So does it also define the buying behavior of the consumer?
Yeah.
So to identify those touch points where it will decide the customer behavior or approach or emotions attached to the product, that maybe in an e-commerce setup, like how.
So it's not just e-commerce, it's also in traditional brick and mortar, but increasingly so. It is not just it's not just about why and when the person will buy. It is all companies are also studying why and when the person is actually not buying. So they picked your product, but then there was some emotion, something that happened, and they kept your product back on the shelf. So that is also a moment of truth,
To understand
because you were not able to tap it, right?
So to understand what we should not do.
Yeah, both
as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
You probably have seen that with e-commerce a lot, cart abandonment rates, and
Yeah.
you get surveys on you left a product in the cart, maybe why, this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And the third one is understanding customer persona. I was going to give a lot of depth here, but you added that point very well. I like this, I don't like this. I'm okay for cars, I'm not okay for DMart. And even for every single product, the persona is different. We'll see examples of this coming our way as well. So when we try to do these 3 steps, first thing is acknowledge there could be challenges. There could be challenges related to this entire journey. It's not like a straightforward process. We have different mindsets sitting in this room as well. So this is a typical journey that we are aware of when a person comes in touch with a brand, or not physically in touch with a brand, but gets to know about a brand. Very simple process: awareness. The person gets aware of the product. Influence and comparison, which is basically either the brand is trying to influence the consumer to buy your product, plus at the same time you're going online and checking pricing, benefits, ratings and reviews of other customers. Is it a good product to buy or not? Commerce, final purchase and payment, could be e-commerce, it could be otherwise as well, right? All of the payment bit. Even in traditional DMarts of the world, you will go pick up and then influence comparison, you will keep it back, pick a competitor product, go to the commerce, and then the community. Community is more about ratings, reviews, more an online process, but how you keep engaged with the customers. And it's actually beyond ratings and reviews, and we'll see examples of that as well. It's about how do you get users to vouch for you. It's same word of mouth concept converted into a different format, where you're actually enabling them, allowing them to talk about your brand instead of you talking about your brand, right? What is complex about this is, in the traditional world, you would have believed it's awareness to influence commerce and community. Now this one is my customer and for life, right? This is not true in the digital world. You may just come to know of something here in the influence phase, right? You may just join an online community and come to know about a product. So you start here and then you go to awareness. So all your customers or your consumers are also going from anywhere to anywhere. So it's a complex process. So when you define customer journey, you have to be mindful of the fact that not just that the persona of people will be different, but their journeys of individual persona may also be different, right? Challenge 2. None of these existed before 2006. So technology is changing significantly. Adoption time, let's see, it's not a quiz, but let's just hear out. Adoption of newer technology is exponentially complex. How much time has TV taken to reach 50 million users? Any clue? 60, 70 years?
I said many years, lot.
Many years. Some numbers, please.
Considering we were invented in 1956.
1956. Okay. Wow, you actually know the year. I don't. So radio and TV took 75 years, 38 years, and 13 years to reach 50 million users. Internet and Facebook.
3 years.
Wow, not bad. It's actually 4 years and 3.5 years. Angry Birds and Pokemon Go.
15 days.
1 month.
1 month, 6 months.
15 days.
No, I would love to believe it's 1 day, but 35 days and 14 days. So even if companies are trying to invest in technologies or digital technologies that will help you change the way you speak with consumers, imagine this challenge. You're trying to invest in something and then you see, oh my god, this has completely changed, something else has come up. So it's completely crashing. So that's another challenge. Challenge 4. We all know TV, radio, print, billboard, traditional ways of talking. Traditional has given way to additional. Social media, totally. Ads, SMS, Echo, Alexas of the world. So different ways to communicate with their consumers, right? And increasingly people are spending time on this. We saw that in our poll as well, done that. So you had a very traditional way of reaching out to the consumers, that's changed as well.
Sorry, just is everyone aware about Amazon Alexa? Oh, yeah, perfect.
Thanks for checking. Consumers no longer want to be pushed. Typically, it was, have you heard of this cool new product? I just got this new thing, it is fantastic. Saw an ad on TV, internet, we spoke about this. And now it's full. I want to go see, check it out. I've seen this on the community, I want to see what it is. I need to buy, I want this right now. Complete change of consumer behavior as well. So these are the top 5 challenges that we can think of are also adding to the way you do digital customer experience. Now let's look at how companies are transforming this customer experience across these stages that we spoke about, right? So let's look at awareness. Let's look at, can we do the video here a bit? Google My Comments, yes. Some of this, all of you must have seen somewhere. That is how Google is tapping micro moments of how consumers are thinking every second, every moment and helping them get to what they want to. The other example?
Yes, sorry.
25, 20. This is a classic example of an ad, of Coca-Cola ad.
To get more people to try Coke Zero, we created an entire campaign that they could literally drink. First, we built a billboard that served real Coke Zero to thousands of fans. Then, we poured Coke Zero to people all over the country.
Your TV is about to pour you a Coke Zero.
This is a drinkable commercial.
We partnered with Shazam and created a new way of using their technology.
Shazam now to drink it.
By Shazamming the spot, the Coke Zero from the screen was poured right into people's phones, whether they were at home, at a concert, or among 80,000 people at the NCAA final game. Every interaction ended with a free Coke Zero that could be redeemed at major retail stores across the U.S. Even when there was no screen, we poured Coke Zero using just sound. From ads that became cups, to flyers that became straws, to tweets that poured Coke Zeros into 140 characters, to drinkable posters that use Shazam to turn people's phones into digital straws. Every single ad put a Coke Zero in people's hands. So next time you're thirsty, drink an ad.
Coke is doing a lot in digital, they're doing a lot in ads as well, but this example is beautiful because not just the fact that they use digital element to reach out to their consumers, but you also see consistency across the different channels. So you're seeing that they have this flyer as well, which goes well with the digital bit as well. So it's not just about what you do in digital, but are you giving the same message and experience across channels? So to me, this is an important example. Yeah, influence and comparison. We have multiple cases where you have digital signages, you have lifestyle content, and some of this we will see in a bit. Social media and display websites where you see a lot of lifestyle content. Both of these are really lifestyle content in different formats. You see a lot of comparisons made on social media with not so many words about competitors, but talking about your value proposition. Lifestyle content is really about not providing content on your brand directly, but giving content related to the lifestyle. So for example, comment on users mixer grinder. So why does this help is because you're trying to help them think through in how many ways your brand is really helpful, point one, and your point two, this lifestyle content many times is user generated content. It's not essentially brand generated. A lot of times you will see people adding to these communities as well to generate lifestyle content. So it's becoming very important, and the different formats, of course, there's Cleanipedia, Recipedia on Alexa. We'll see some examples of that as well. And on social media, mobile apps are being used to kind of talk about lifestyle content. And then of course we talk about content on the brand YouTube. Again, essentially from the Coke example, whatever we talk, whatever you say has to be replicated, and make sure that you have a common message across these channels as well. Other examples on the human touch is virtual makeup assistants. You have these apps that do that, right? Like, sorry, somebody has an example. Yeah? Lenskart. Very good example. Magic Mirror and Amazon Echo Look and Show. Anybody knows about Amazon Echo Look and Show? So we know Amazon Echo, that's the Alexa. The Look and Show bit. You want?
It's a new product that they launched a few weeks ago. Essentially, it's the speaker, but with an eye. So it has a camera. You essentially put it up there and you say, "Hey Alexa, how do I look? Hey Alexa, does the stop go with this car? Hey Alexa, take a picture." So it essentially is your personal virtual assistant inside the room. It is sort of judgmental because it is going to be some advice, but it's still very early days. We're going to see a lot more of these in other formats as well coming to the home soon.
Yeah. Pokemon Go, Marmite, Unilever example. Unilever did that to their brand. Marmite is a spread brand where they use Pokemon Go to get to the stores and try to win some points and play Pokemon as well. MasterCard Kasisto, we will see this example soon. It's a chatbot really. You want to go through the examples first? Let's let's look at how this looks like and what it does really, and maybe we can look at other examples that we are aware in the audience as well.
Introducing the Cleanopedia skill for Amazon Alexa.
Oh, nightmare.
Okay, quick one. We'll run the video. We just want you to identify. There's a very subtle message on the brand and the company that's doing this. We want you to tell us which is the company doing it and which is the brand.
Dirty. No problem. Alexa, ask Cleanopedia how to clean dirty oven.
Scrape off excess thin residue and apply an oven cleaner. Close the door and leave to work for 30 minutes. Then scrub and rinse until clean.
Thanks, Cleanopedia. Really.
Oh, looks so clean. But not your shirt.
How did that happen? Right, let's ask Alexa this one too. Alexa, ask Cleanopedia how to remove grease from clothes.
Rub a little biological liquid detergent like Persil Bio Liquid into stains before washing as normal in the washing machine.
Okay, let me go and put this in the wash now, and then we can go and chill on the sofa with a nice glass of wine.
Want quick and useful cleaning tips? Enable the Cleanopedia skills for Alexa and enjoy quicker and easier ways to keep your home clean.
No. So Unilever is the answer, and this is basically, if you see, they said use Cleanopedia skills. So on Amazon, you can deploy the Cleanopedia skills to be able to use Cleanopedia. And this was an example where they are doing their own brand stuff, but really trying to get beyond and understanding the lifestyle of a person and saying how you can use and where you can use it, right?
And just to contrast it with what organizations were doing earlier, so you're probably aware of Michelin-starred restaurants. They are the highest in fine dining. It started off as a way of development of content to support a brand, which is Michelin. So Michelin wanted to encourage people to drive out of their homes, visit new places. One way they did that was promoting Michelin star, but that is very dated now. What you need now is for all of the devices that you have in your home, brands need to be present in through any and every means. So this is one way.
Any other Amazon Echo examples that people are aware? Any learning modules, skill modules? Yeah.
There's a very interesting one which happened a few weeks ago actually. JP Morgan actually started using Alexa for its clients to help on financial advisory. So what they basically said is, we'll open up the skills. So Alexa, if you look and read up on Amazon Alexa, it's essentially a bunch of skills. So companies or individuals can add up new skills, and you need to enable it in your individual machines. So the new JP Morgan skill for their clients is, hey Alexa, tell me, is this a good investment or not? So and the JP Morgan algorithms at the back end run and tell the client. Fairly early stage, but they are investing significantly. Yes, please.
Can you be a little louder, please, so everybody can hear?
You mentioned Fidelity.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. So with Fidelity also, so we've integrated with Alexa, and we normally say Alexa ask Fidelity. So it can tell you any codes, like maybe Apple codes or any stock related information that you want.
Oh, great.
So
that's nice.
It's starting with simple facts, and over a point in time, it will start to move into opinions and judgments.
yeah, you can read news and whatever
Absolutely.
information you have on the app,
Yeah.
all of that is available.
Good. That's a good example. Any other examples?
I'm from Shell. Shell has their own application called as Shelly for their petrol pump. It is built on using Amazon Alexa, where customers can check their loyalty points, when they can refuel again, which is the next best station available. So that is
Lovely.
Perfect.
Lovely. That's nice.
That's
a good
engagement tied with
example.
loyalty as well.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice.
We've implemented for the employees in the organization, and one of the use cases we've built across is
I mean, it's required for open flow plans, huh? It's very required. Right?
Home, huh? The other one.
You want to show Expedia?
It's the same, so maybe the other one.
Uh,
Mastercard.
Mastercard.
This is on Mastercard Kasisto. It's not visible. Okay, then we need to, yeah, can somebody switch off the lights? Maybe it will be more visible. Oh, is it? So, okay, I'll just talk about it. It's basically a chatbot built by, maybe you can just pause it. Okay, what are my balances? Can you just stop this maybe?
Yes.
Pause it? Okay. So it's basically a chatbot built by Mastercard, by Kasisto for Mastercard, and what it does is it's responding instead of an agent. So you don't have an agent, but they are actually responding. It's interesting. We'll be putting this example on the website of IIBA as well, so you can go and see it later. It's very interesting because it's actually trying to, the person who's talking to the chatbot is also trying to say, are you really real or you really a chatbot, and how can I be sure it's secure? And the person actually responds to all these questions as well, apart from giving balance and giving different ideas. And then of course in between, apart from just responding, you have these coming up on different services offerings, and you can ask what it is, it explains, and it understands your questions and responds to it as well.
Yeah. So if you probably have the Google Now app on your phones, if you Google Assistant app actually, if you ask it a question, sorry. Yes, hello. So if you ask it a question, and then it will show up options which says, okay, if you ask the weather for today, it'll say, do you want me to set up an alert for showing you weather alerts every single day, something like that. So again, I think like she mentioned, all these are currently being used to drop facts, to drop hard data from various feeds. You don't really need to track half a dozen newsletters or anything. So just reach out when you want with a very quick command, you can extract it.
So I have a question. Why do you think chatbots are gaining importance? Why do we need chatbots? We have call center, we have agents, we have the human touch. Why is it being used? Cost, okay. So easier. So you all realize you're also thinking customer experience, right? Somebody is saying mobile is with me in my hand. You're understanding that today's consumer mostly works on mobile 85 to 150 times a day, right? What did you say? Response time. You don't want to wait in the call center or do an IVR. It is quicker to just type and get the response. WhatsApp has made us all use the smartphone in a different way. Just keep chatting. We like chatting, and that's what it does. So you are actually, it's cost, yes, but more than cost, it's also customer experience. It's consumer experience that you're talking about. Yeah, talking about commerce and final, I think somebody just spoke right in the beginning as well. There were traditional payment systems. We're talking about Apple Pay, we're talking about Freedom, Paytm, MobiKwik, all of these of the world, right? So quick one on that. What are people looking at? Let's look at Amazon Go. Everybody aware of Amazon Go example? So we should not go through the video. People know. No checkout. Basically the idea is not wanting to go through something, stand in the queue. It is about convenience. It's about customer experience. Everybody aware of Disney Magic Bands? Superb. Everybody knows everything. Apple Pay? Okay. Connected bags? No. So let's go to the guys. That's a Capgemini example. We've developed something, but we'll just show.
But watch what happens as I enter the store. I am greeted with a full screen push notification welcoming me. Now that's thanks to this handy device, our little friend the iBeacon. And I've also got an option to try the new Smart Bag experience. Well, I'm always up for something new, so why not? Let me tell you about this Smart Bag. Just like the iBeacon, this is an IoT device, except a bit bigger and a bit snazzier. It's powered with RFID and Bluetooth, so all I need to do is pair this with my phone by touching them together. I've got a prompt here to pair them. I'll say yes. We'll let the pairing go through. And just like that, I have a physical empty shopping bag and a digital empty shopping trolley linking my in-store and digital experiences together. Great. Let's shop. So I see these cool green headphones I've been eyeing for the entirety of my demonstration. I'm going to pop them into the bag. And as I do, my shopping trolley updates in my app. So everything is connected. This is pretty cool. But watch this. We've got more demonstrations to go. I know this is exciting, but wait till you see what else we've got. I have no time to queue here. So watch what happens as I simply walk out of the store. The same iBeacon that recognized I entered has recognized I've left and charged me straight through the app. No queues, no cards, just cool new headphones. How about that?
So that was the example of the connected bag. Again, about consumer experience, no queues, not wanting to wait in the queue and going through the experience of trying to charge or not.
Exactly, and just to add, all of you mentioned that you are aware of Amazon Go. Amazon Go is more futuristic, whereas this is a ready-made solution which is already being piloted at multiple retail stores across Europe. Excellent. Absolutely.
Any more such examples?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes. In order to pair, and when, for the various SKUs, it's the cheapest that we found so far. But we wanted to make it as intuitive as possible with wireless, so we didn't want the consumer to actually go and figure different stages of the checkout cycle. So, sorry.
In this case, I don't think RFID was used for pairing. The tool has done that pairing. But RFID is to make sure that customer puts that in the bag itself. What if he just walks in
Walks it with it.
his hand? How will you detect whether they are connected for it?
Any more examples?
NFC, yep. Indeed.
So even though he walks through the bag and the product in the hand is tracking the near field.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, good example. Any more examples? RFID wallets. Can you be a little louder? I don't think everybody's hearing.
Now, I was just saying that this all looks cool to me, looks really futuristic. What I'm wondering is that as the traditional brick and mortars, whether it is retail banking or retail stores, start to fight with or start to compete with the Amazons of the world, traditional retailing has operated with very thin margins, right? And there's a risk-based investment decision they need to make in terms of putting in money in the new technologies and the payout. Maybe it's my ignorance, but I don't know, what is the payout for this new technologies? Where is the money going to come from? Particularly, for the brick and mortar stores, which in any case has to operate all the branches and all the stores and all the physical requirements, which is putting up their capex in any case high and making that risk-based investment decisions even more difficult to make.
Yeah.
Another important point is you want to survive or not, which is the first question, right? So all these years you had a monopoly, you made profits every year, right? Consistently with growth. Now we have a question of either two things: either you can acquire one of these companies
Yeah, I just have one question, something to say here. See, all these technologies and the customer experience is good, but not everyone can afford this. And the problem is that, if you look at the Amazons and the big, marketplaces which are coming up, uh, they have been able to survive with the new business model and, but if you look at from an Indian context and if you look at Indian players, I think we might also want to question whether is this the customer experience which the the company who wants to provide it can afford. That's the point, and it's not easy to acquire a company.
That is a brilliant point, and it adds to kind of his question on digital business case. So I would just like to add a couple of words here. You're right in terms of Indian clients, especially. Do they have the money to invest to do like what an Amazon did, and is it relevant to my consumer, right?
Yeah.
So there's an entire, so when we do typical digital transformation journeys, we are also looking at their digital business case. Let me not overpromise, there is no real digital business case, so there's like it's very difficult to do a marketing ROI. It's very similar in the case of digital as well. Having said that, there's an entire investment case done by companies to see what are the different initiatives that you can possibly do to improve customer experience. And even if you cannot say, because today I cannot say that if I take this step in terms of improving customer experience, it could be using RFID or one of these Cleanipedias, Recipedias, I cannot say that my sales is boosting because of that.
Yeah.
But what I can do is talk about the metrics that it will enable.
Yeah.
So, and typical digital investments do not happen thinking, oh, you know what, I heard Unilever is doing Cleanipedia, can I repeat this in my company? It starts with who's your customer, what's the persona, what is the pain point, or what is the experience uplifter that you're talking about, and how do you enable. So in the worst case, you're at least taking care of the metric of this particular customer problem is solved. Adding to that, what he mentioned, if you don't do it, it's about survival as well. So combining both of this, what companies do is typically look at what are the typical investments. They don't do like an all-out investment in one go. They prioritize basis what is the urgent customer need, or what is it that I'm trying to get into, what are my sales and marketing goals, get into understanding what are the metrics that I'm trying to influence, both from either from an e-commerce perspective or your retail outlet perspective, and then take a call.
Yeah.
And it does not stop there. It does not stop there. So even if you've taken a decision of investing in digital, and you do, now I may decide that I'm going to do these 3 digital implementations to get to what I want to do. What if I do such an investment and my consumer does not use that technology? So digital projects are not just stopping there. It is your job to also make sure how do you socialize that concept and test enough before you go in the market, and do something that's extremely relevant to the consumer, and the consumer takes that from there, right? So both is your responsibility. So
I'm assuming that this also takes the point of view that I may not have everyone having a smartphone. I may not have every place an internet enabled store or stuff like that. I hope that's also covered besides the
absolutely. So there is a concept called lifestyle measure, right, which is basically 8+ lifestyle measure are the ones who are typically present on the digital or social world. But there is a whole bunch of India that lies between 1 to 8. How do you deal with them? Having said that, we've done a recent study for one of our clients which has mass products in the rural as well as rurban. They call rurban because mix of rural and urban emerging areas. We've done research there. You'll be surprised at the penetration of smartphones. It's not too different from the urban. That's point 1. Point 2 is you have to look at alternate ways of technologies that can enable it there as well. So of course, you cannot do it in every region. Point taken, there will be regions or villages which will not even have internet penetration enough to be able to do these kind of implementations. Having said that, if you're talking about consumers, for example, you can tie up with retailers. Retailers will have Wi-Fi, and they can possibly help you give that kind of customer experience instead of going to consumer to consumer to consumer. So yes, in some cases you'll be able to reach the consumer directly through Cleanipedia, Recipedia, or other examples that we've seen, right? Directly to consumers, it may be in your urban space. So point well taken. You have, and which is where it's not just about customer persona, it's not about customer journey, but understanding your customer segments as well, right? Like what works for a digital person, a person who is completely on social versus somebody sitting in a village watching TV is very different. So you understand what are the segments, cater to each segment, understand personas within those segments, understand different journeys within those personas, and then try to design what you want to do. And eventually after that also, it's about what are the business goals these digital implementation will help you with. And once you're able to answer that question, is you will at least kind of know what the return is, not in terms of monetary, let me be very clear, but at least in terms of the metrics that you're trying to influence. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So no one does that. Typically digital is not about replacing, right? It is about complementing. So you start with complementing and you see how it goes. And none of these are big bang implementations. You're really trying to test the market with different implementations and see what works for you, right?
There's this famous Steve Jobs keynote address where someone asked, in terms of, okay, what is important? Is coming up with a product important, or being looking at a customer is important? So from his perspective, what he said was, starting in from a product view is absolutely not his view, not his vision. Yeah. Like you always have to start from a customer-centric view. I have a good example of if one starts from a product-centric view, right? And Google always makes that mistake. For example, let's say Google Glass, right? They started off with this amazing technology, a futuristic technology, which has absolutely zero use case in the real world, right? And look at Apple on the other hand, they were able to understand the customer better, and they were able to come up with products which can actually sell and can be used in the real life world.
That's a brilliant example. So we're talking about digital, we're talking about one of the digital companies who are not, who've not done that right as well. So right, there is no, there are ways to get there, but of course you have to understand your customer segment to answer your question.
And I am one of the unfortunate souls in this world who has a Google Glass, which I which I don't know what to do, and it's lying idle. If anyone wants to buy from here, it's up for sale.
After you sold it so well, I don't think anybody's interested.
Just to add, sorry, to the traditional channel that you were talking about, I'm sure people might have heard of MRF Rain Day. Has anybody heard of it? It's a very popular marketing campaign which MRF does. In Mumbai, in Mumbai the rains are very common. So you predict on which day of the June those rains will come. And traditionally they have been doing that via newspapers and via billboards. But as digital came along, they're now on social media, websites. So they ask people to vote, and what day the MRF the rain will come, and it's a very popular campaign that way. So incremental digital change.
Yeah. One second. Sorry.
So I think one other point that comes out of this is this also gives an opportunity for probably companies to collaborate. Because for example, if I take a connected bag solution, this could be collaborated among different vendors or different companies, where you have one single shopping bag and you could go to different types of stores. And the other way that you could look at this is like from a customer's perspective, if I have a bag, it's not that I would be the only person using it. Probably my family, my children, or wife, or anyone could be using the same bag. So it kind of gives a better experience to the customer. On the other hand, looking from an investment point of view, you can collaborate with different people to make the solution work.
Interesting. Yeah.
Just another dimension to what we have already heard. The overall, concept. I'll just take Disney as an example. The concept is about the wallet share.
Mm-hmm.
You know your consumer, and the intent of any business model, what we are seeing here, is to incrementally, have a grip on that share, the digital wallet share. And what Disney has done is, they have encapsulated the whole package into a seamless experience.
Yeah.
So I may have a budget for food, I may have a budget for a fine dine, I may have a budget for cinematic experience. They've just targeted, in a single digital wallet, they've increased, and it's a common platform. That's how they are monetizing it actually.
Yeah. You had some point. Just 2 minutes. excellent point. Please do. Yeah. Digital cashless vending machine. Yeah. 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 Yeah, and I agree. There are many, many use cases like this. There are many, many use cases. These are just some samples that we wanted to inspire and to the already inspired crowd. But
there are many use cases of things that haven't gone right yet.
Absolutely.
We have to factor that in, and those are the learnings
Absolutely.
that have come for.
So, if you don't mind, I would love to answer this. So, as we are seeing that digital is only about doing the customer experiences and making it better day by day. At the same time, from a corporate perspective or from an organization's perspective, we are learning. We are making the day better for customer day by day. It may be a futuristic approach, which may not be a big bang rollout. It may be phased, but customers and organizations are getting towards it, making it digital so that they can learn in the way. Eventually, the machine learning and the artificial intelligence would be something that will be crunched out of this data where we collect at different touch points in the digital business. And as per yesterday's frictionless customer experience, I'd love to add that the NPS score would definitely go up in times to come. So it's just futuristic, and we are going and looking at to make this happen.
Yeah. Great. So moving forward, talking about the last stage that we spoke about, community, which I won't run too many videos. We're talking about community on the new digital channels as well, social media. And all of these are different examples of how companies are doing this. P&G Moms has been there for a very long time, but how they are engaging on social media to form a community. We spoke about moments of truth as well a couple of minutes back. Apple unboxing, a community being formed who's actually sharing videos of unboxing Apple. So instead of Apple having to do that, your own user community is what they are sharing. GIF-Chaff is another example. You want to talk?
Anyone heard of GIF-Chaff?
Yeah, you want to? Do you know this example of community?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a mobile virtual network operator. So like Talk24 from Big Bazaar, for example. So they don't own the network. They just lease it. It's a brand arrangement. So GIF-Chaff, their customer service is their customers, essentially. So if you have a question, you go to the forums, you post it, the other customers answer it, and it's gamified. You get credits for answering it, and those credits can be exchanged for network airtime or other data packets or anything like that. And GIF-Chaff has been doing that exceedingly well in the UK. Their NPS scores are among the highest for telcos. Yeah.
Okay, so we know what companies are doing, but how they are doing is the more interesting part. I spoke about the example of moments of truth, understanding customer persona and customer journey. Quickly running through one example is, this is for a product and you have identified different customer personas. One of the persona, Neha, 36 years, lifestyle, she's a busy working mom with a 5-year-old daughter. She wants the best for her child and actively encourages her child to be brave and explore the world. This is the persona. So you're not really talking about her using habits of the product, you're talking about an individual, you're talking about her as a person. What is her journey going from YouTube to Facebook, saying she's actually relaxing on Friday night, catching an old episode on YouTube, right? She'll of course get the ad that you talk about. She skips the ad, goes ahead. A week later, on her Facebook, she suggested a video of her detergent campaign. It's a clickable video. She goes and she shares a point of view on a particular topic that's been spoken about. Then she clicks the link, goes to the website, writes her point of view, and she also learns. So the brand is also discussing something with her. 3 scientific reasons as to why you should allow your kids to get dirty. Now, of course, it's a detergent brand, no brainer. But the point is, you're trying to actually tell your consumer about the benefits of the product, but also the lifestyle, also your persona related topics coming into play and engaging. She's giving her point of view as well. So it's not just you are bombarding her with content, but also getting the content. She shares the article on Facebook, blah, blah, and then also goes and actually purchases from Big Basket. And then after using, she's sharing her comments about the product on Facebook wall. So she's actually gone from YouTube to Facebook to site to again Facebook to again Big Basket, and then gone to Facebook to give her comments. So this is her journey. This is her journey. This is her persona. Now, understanding what she could typically do, companies are then looking at what they should do. So how they should use analytics, how should they use social media, how should they use digital content and promotions. So all of that starts coming, and what are your best ways to influence, what are the best ways to capture consumer data. So let's be honest, you're not just doing it to understand and promote so that your product is sold, you're at the back end trying to capture some consumer data, do analytics, make your system more robust as well. And of course you want her to share your information and become a loyal customer and be a part of the community as well. I'm not going to run through many examples given that it's already one. And so there are many such examples for the same product, some other persona, same product, some third persona. So they are different people, right? She's more bothered about her appearance or things like that. So there are different products, different personas and journeys, similarly like this. So this is how it's typically done. You understand what are the different types of customer segments, different personas, and I'll skip this. Okay, so how does this happen? So it's basically enabled all by digital technologies, and we'll quickly come to this, but back to Kahoot. And the game pin is 761405. Shall we start? I think we should start given the time. Yeah? What is the underlying technology used in Apple Pay or Samsung Pay or Google Wallets? Wi-Fi, RFID, NFC, Bluetooth. Most of them got it right. NFC, good. Next one. I don't see the Bahubali coming first for some reason. What technology is Pokemon Go based on? VR, AR, AI, pixel sensing. We still have the fastest finger first coming, is it?
I think it's slowed down a bit.
Yeah, it slowed down a bit. I think people are getting hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, AR, next. Which of the options has Domino's not used to deliver pizza? Drones, robots, 3D printing, and human. Copy paste not allowed, please. No copying.
Wow, we have a lot of pizza lovers, huh?
Yeah.
Hungry, yeah. Yeah. Which category of variables was recently in the news for saving a life?
I want to see if how many get this right. Wow. Well updated. Next. Is it the last one? Oh, we have one. Which company recently shut down their robots because they were talking in a new language? Yeah, they don't. That would be interesting though. Walking. Yeah. Yeah. Which country is planning to use taxi drones to fly passengers in the near future? Are you saying India is planning or should plan?
We have autos that fly.
Dubai, not bad. Okay, next. Where do you use AI in your daily life already? Fastest finger first, is it? '64 is done. We should just move. Hey, that's yeah, it's all of the above. Yeah, move next.
We got most of the answers right. So
Yeah, and we've discussed a lot of technologies already, but these are the typical technologies: chatbots, QR codes, artificial intelligence, geo-targeting, NFC, payments. All of these are actually enabling the entire experience. So we spoke about different customer personas, different journeys. We understand what is their cycle of buying a product and what are the technologies that are enabling as well. Any particular interesting example anyone wants to share before we move forward? I know everybody's getting very hungry, but a very quick example that we've not discussed so far of any of these technologies or beyond.
are you aware of Dash? Amazon Dash? No? Okay. Okay, very quickly, Amazon Dash essentially is a small internet connected device. Essentially, if you're ordering, for example, in this case, detergent, it's a small button which you can put on the top of your washing machine, and you press it, it places an automatic order for delivery with Amazon. It's delivered next day. Amazon has these dash buttons for a variety of consumer goods products. So all CP companies, multiple CP companies are actually going forward and saying, we want to come into your house and be that one-click brand to deliver. So it's picking up fairly well in the US. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing consumer experience, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And
before
apart
you get
from
a
that,
smart fridge. Yeah.
apart from that, of course, at the back end, you need a lot of your experience managers, campaign management, e-commerce platform, CRM platform, content management, asset management, listening platforms, analytics, automation, targeting, web platforms. There are a lot of other technologies that will enable this as a back end as well. Yeah. What is the biggest concern today for adoption? If people are not moving towards digital, and I'm talking about consumers, what is stopping them from doing that? Thank you. Security and privacy, they are the biggest concerns. Almost 50% of consumers are not willing to share personal financial data with organizations. I'm actually disappointed with the number. I thought it would be much larger. Millennials are actually okay to trade privacy if they get a better deal. Interesting. So what are the reasons? Unsecured websites, potential misuse of data, they are scared of unsecured mobile apps, and of course, like you see, millennials, they're actually okay to trade. Not that the others are not, but typically millennials are more prone to. What you need to be careful of is, of course, while we talk about this entire personalization and mass personalization, beware that you don't do too much of personalization as well. Some people said, I don't want so much of SMSs. Some people say, I want some kind of distance. I'm totally into digital. The example that we gave on a video as well. Do you want to share the example of over personalization?
So some of you might have read about it or might have heard about a famous NYT story as well. The idea that organizations today have an enormous amount of data is disconcerting to some people. But in some cases, what has happened is that organizations have reached out to consumers without the consumers realizing something. So it's a slightly politically correct example. I'm sorry for taking it, but so there's this case of a teen in the U.S. and this lady had done some shopping at Target, and essentially Target sent targeted mailers to their home with suggestions on some pregnancy products. The yeah, exactly. Exactly, predicting the timeline of the pregnancy. Now the dad of the teenage girl was very upset, walked into the store, had a huge fight, and said, well, this is not done. Why are you doing this? How can you say this? And then he comes back after a few days, again says, I'm sorry, I got to know a few more things later on. You're actually right. But what happens in the ultimate process is this is something which Target should not have done. They were trying to personalize it, but they actually cross boundaries, they cross limits in terms of what you can use data to personalize and how far it might go. And this is a larger risk that you start seeing, as you see AI or machine learning or any of these technologies when used for personalization. You need the human element in there to make sure that human biases and human discrimination does not step into these technologies, right?
Yeah. So key takeaways, stay close to your clients. Yes, your clients are important as consultants, BAs, but stay closer to your clients' customers, right? Understand what is their customer doing, what is their customer wanting, and what is their experience that you're trying to influence. Recognize the transforming customer's journey and acknowledge their moments of truth. Moments of truth differ for different people, different emotions, we discussed that. Identify levers of influence and engagement. While you understand their journey, you understand their persona, what is it that I as an organization can tap into, right? Your client for that matter. Keep yourself updated on what digital technologies is. We saw the talk of TV versus a Pokemon Go, right? The adoption rate. Keep yourself updated on what is the latest and is it really going to last? Is it just a fad? So those are things that you need to keep yourself updated on. Don't underestimate the power of a common data. Data security and privacy are confidential. With that, I would like to take any other questions before we break for lunch. Comments, not just questions, thoughts. Check with Domino's, they are very good for customer experience.
David started drone delivery here.
Yes, please.
Yeah, please.
Yeah?
There is always a resistance to change,
Yeah.
right, when it comes to enterprises. Though they understand and they appreciate the benefits of this and where it's going to take them, there's always a resistance to change.
Absolutely.
So what is your take on that, or what's your comments,
So in our digital transformation journey, there are two areas that we look at. One is the digital element, which is the initiatives that they should look at, which we already spoke about. The other, very rightfully so, is the transformation journey, right? So, and for that transformation journey, there's a lot of change management that you need to do. It ranges from a lot of activities like understanding the strategy of the company first, defining a digital vision, make sure that your stakeholders are aligned around the digital vision. While you're not able to talk about the ROI, talk about what the consumers are looking for, talk about the metrics that it may potentially influence. Not influence, may potentially influence to protect yourself, right? But apart from doing that, there's a lot of collaborative ways of working together, the digital vision exercise being the main starting point, but also not going for a big bang or a full-fledged digital experience, but taking those pilots, identifying those quick wins, trying to implement in a very smaller way where you talk about, so one is of course scare them, talk to them about the Kodaks of the world, talk to them about, and scare may be a very strong word, but the fact of the matter is there are companies that have gone completely, right? So that could be one, but also work with them to make them understand the reason for change, work with them to understand what are their apprehensions, and they could be right, they could be not. The most often than not, I've seen companies saying, oh, because you know traditionally this is 95 to 98% of my business. So we first start with digital activities, or we convince them to start with digital activities that don't disrupt this model. So you start incrementally in different ways, learn what digital is, and then move forward, right? The other thing that I have noticed of different companies taking different calls is when the not exactly the return on investment, but how do you make sure that they are successful, because especially your clients are going to be, there's a huge resistance to change. So instead of just talking about digital investments, talk about the outcomes that you will be having. So what are the metrics? It could not be revenue, it could be NPS, right? So what is it that you are trying to influence? That becomes very important as well. And as a digital program, don't try to do only implementations. You have to give them a helping hand and let the business take over on how do they take it to market, how do they make it successful. I can suggest a mobile app launch, but it has to be successful in the market. The consumers need to want to have to look at it. You may do enough research to suggest what it is. So you have to have a helping hand and work collaboratively with them on this part of the story as well. Yeah.
And if I might just add, the scary part is good, you can actually scare them into action. What also works is the fact that there are digital leaders in every sector.
Yeah.
So there are companies which are actually already doing a lot of initiatives in your own sector. Your own competitor is probably building up the back end to the future, and they're suddenly going to come up. So it's not really an option to sit back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions or comments?
So in all this discussion we had, a lot of heavy lifting is done by the users, where it relies on the user-generated content, right? As we do online shopping or any other activity online for that matter, we tend to check user reviews, which is created by users.
Yeah.
So are there some examples where, encouraging customers to leave reviews, because users are very poor in generating that content? So any campaign or anything which you
I
would
think
speak about?
there are many. There are many. So first of all, user-generated content generates 6 to 9 times. There was one of the questions, we dropped it off, but yeah, it generates 6 to 9 times more engagement than brand-generated content. So there are many examples of communities where you'll see P&G Mom, for example. If you check online, they make the consumer talk about the product, and consumer talk about the lifestyle of the product, or their lifestyle, not the product lifestyle, but their lifestyle and how they are using the product, or the benefits as well. There are multiple such examples. P&G, Unilever across the top brands. Which one? GiveCap example.
GiveCap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So there are many ways to do that. One of the very simplest ways that companies do that is promotional offers. So you read a review and get a coupon in place. So that's the simplest one. But also in the long run, it is also about, so while we are saying we want user generated content, you need to do enough research before that to identify the persona and what will make the person talk or give a review, right? So you need to understand the persona, be able to identify what are the topics to engage with them. You engage with them on other platforms. That's where the entire multi-channel experience comes. If I'm just going to ask you to come and give a review, you may not. But if I have already engaged with you on social media, and we are talking about, say, Recipedia or Cleanipedia or something, right? Like, or you're sharing a recipe with me as a brand, then in that case, you connect with my brand. And when you connect with my brand, you will go and give a positive rating.
Another example is Google has this local guides.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to a place, it kind of pops up saying that
points. Yeah.
TripAdvisor, for example, again.
TripAdvisor is one very good example wherein you are forced to kind of either you go because there is an underlying reward there.
There is an underlying reward. So I use TripAdvisor, for example, significantly.
Yeah. Promotionals. Yeah.
I think there are two very important points. Like one you mentioned, what do we connect with the customer for? And the second one would be how do you trigger the customer to react? One good example that I have seen and used in a day-to-day life is Uber. So they have a, you can rate the driver, but at the same time the driver rates you as well.
Yeah.
So
Very good.
there you can also see people actually giving a good or a bad review. You see both of that happen.
Yeah. Very good example. So don't be selfish and just expect one thing. You have to connect in a lot of many other ways as well.
So this is similar example to what Sir mentioned. So Google has this app, Google Rewards. So what it does is like whatever searches you make or whatever, if you go visit a certain place, so we give you a survey. You have to fill the survey. You have to give your own opinions and reviews. And after giving that, it's a short 2-minute review. And after giving that, we get Google credits. We can use that to make purchases
On the Play Store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't hear you, sorry.
The other aspect is that organization should be scared about on which digital technology that which we have to invest. The technology that which we are finding today may not be relevant for the rest of the
Which is a good learning, which is where one of our key takeaways was. Like, it's not just because somebody else is doing, you completely jump into the same thing, right? Like, it's about what fits you, but also keeping yourself updated about which are the new digital technologies. And there's no one way to success, right? Like, you have to experiment. And while we bring this up, it's not true for the non-digital world either, right? Whatever you're saying is actually true otherwise as well. Yeah. That's a very good example. Innovation. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think ultimately the emotional touch that you have with your customer is what is going to make you more than anything.
CX comes before D. Yeah. Any other pointers before we close the session?
There was a mention in yesterday's.
So now you've seen the deck already. Good.
Yesterday's event that by 2020, CX will be the top criteria for consumer behavior rather than the product and price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll have to set up a call center that answers for 10 hours, 50 minutes, 51 minutes. Good.
Among other things.
Or a chatbot doing that for that long.
All right.
Okay. Any more questions, comments? Great. It was lovely having all of you here. Good. Thank you. And
Thank you.
have a nice day.
Yeah. Thank you.